pizza, pizza.
And look at him go! He could go all the way! Touchdown! Touchdown! Touchdown!
The Bills make me wanna shout, kick your heels up and shout, throw your hands up and shout, throw your head back and shout. Come on now, the Bills are making it happen now. Stand up now, come on and shout. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, 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 hey. Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. Go, 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 go. The Bills make me wanna. The Bills make me wanna. Hey, 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 hey. Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. The Bills make me wanna.
Merry Christmas! Shitter was full!
Good morning, Bills Mafia, and what a way to sort of kick off the show this morning. My name is Steve Mathis. You can find me, as always, on Twitter at Judge Mathis, joined by my usual co-host, Dave Tilton. You can find him on Twitter at Tilt Money. We got some special guests today, joined by the host of the Chick from the 716 pod, Marie Costello, and from the NFL Basement and the editor-in-chief of the BuffaloFanatics.com, Adam Nanini. How are we doing this morning, guys? What a start. What a way to kick off the show with that dance group there.
Well, as you know, I kind of hinted in my Twitter that I'm going to be adding some Baileys to my coffee this morning. So I have the big bottle here. Not going to be using all of it, but I'm going to go ahead and top my coffee off with a little Baileys. And then I got another little surprise for you. And this is something that you can buy, not to really shameless plug here, but I've got my very nice Buffalo Fanatics mug here that I'm drinking out of this morning. And as you can see, I'm in the holiday spirit with my my beanie on here, and my beanie top kind of looks like the top of Adam's microphone. So how about that? I'm feeling good.
Yeah. Bree, how you doing this morning?
I'm pretty good. Excited for dinner tonight, pretty much.
Adam, how about yourself?
I'm doing pretty well, although it's kind of cold and rainy here where I am, so it's pretty ugly. But, you know, is there a better way to start off Christmas Eve? I don't think so.
So what you guys are saying is that there's actually snow and like cold weather places during Christmas. It's not like sunny and 75 degrees out like it is here in Phoenix, Arizona.
Not
It's
yet.
not snow, it's rain.
Yeah, it's rain. I'd rather have snow, to be honest. Like, it's that cold rain, which is just like ugly. And then when the ice hits, I don't know, people in North Carolina have no idea what they're doing. It gets real scary real quick.
We're actually gonna get things started off by announcing a giveaway that we will be doing today. I mentioned yesterday, I mentioned on Tuesday's or Monday's show. My apologies as I try to pull up the overlay here. I mentioned on Monday's show, Eric Swetlake came in at the very end of our show, Dave, with the $50 super chat. So I said, in honor of the Christmas season, we were going to be doing a giveaway today, and that's what we are going to be doing. So good morning, Bills Mafia. Happy holidays from Buffalo Fanatics. You see at the bottom, we are doing a Christmas Eve gear giveaway. So anyone who super chats today is going to be eligible to win. Anytime somebody super chats today, I will put their name in this Buffalo Fanatics mug, and we will pull out a winner at the very end to win yourself some gear from the Buffalo Fanatics. So make sure you get into that by hitting us up with a super chat today with any questions or comments that you may have. So the intro sort of ended today with the classic line from Christmas Vacation. And that classic line is shitter's full. And the shitter is full this year. The shitter is full. Excuse my language this early Christmas Eve morning, but the shitter is full of Patriots fans, Jets, Nick Wright, I believe, is somewhere clogging the shitter. Skip Bayless. So we all have something to be thankful for. And we want to thank Ryan Teal coming in with a super chat early on here. Just want to wish Bills Mafia a Merry Christmas. Go Bills and smash those likes. Thank you so much, Ryan. So let's get things started off this morning. I want to get your guys' reaction to clinching the AFC East because now we are no longer the ones clogging the shitter. Bree, what is your reaction to the Buffalo Bills winning the AFC East?
I'm super excited about this. This is the first time in my lifetime that we have been like a very good team. So I couldn't be happier about all of it. And I kind of anticipated it early on in the season, which was really good too. But overall, it's great.
Adam, how about yourself? What are your reactions to the Buffalo Bills winning the AFC East?
Well, I wish I could say this is the first time I remember us having a really good team, but I'm old. So, I think the odd thing is it's, for a long time, I hoped we'd win. I would hope we would, pull something out. I'd hope I'm getting to the point that I'm expecting it, and I'm expecting us to play well and I'm expecting more, I find myself no longer wishing for just one win in the playoffs. Now I think this team can do it. So it's a strange, almost unsettling thing. And I feel like I'm jinxing myself every time I have that thought. But it's exciting and expectations have grown and, hopefully the team can live up to them.
Yeah, we got a couple of super chats rolling in here. Dave, you want to get to these super chats real quick?
Yeah, we got Brian coming in, regular of ours, says, let's get it started. Happy holidays, Judge. I really am 40. And this is the context here is that Brian's picture looks like he's like 22 or younger, and yet says he's 40. I don't know if it's an old picture. I don't think he would do us like that. So I'm pretty sure he's just a very, very fit and strapping young man with
Santa clearly has him on the nice list every year. He is aging well.
He is aging well. Elliot Eisler comes in, another regular, says, super chat like this. Merry Christmas, BF, and go Bills. So put his name in the list, in the mug. Sergio Chavez coming in with $5. Thank you, Sergio. Another regular. Morning, happy fam. Happy Christmas Eve, Bills Mafia. Great waking up on this day knowing we own the AFC East. Let's clinch the number 2 seed. Let's go. And then the voice, the butter himself, Joe Miller. Pick me, pick me. Merry Christmas, Mafia.
we got the jar is filling up here, and
you might need a bigger mug than what you got there.
I want to get today started off with a light topic. Now, I tell anyone who asks, hey, what are some podcasts I should check out? I always tell them about Bree and the chick from the 716, because I've never seen a single episode of The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, but I could probably give you a full synopsis or a recap of what's going on, because every week is Bills and Bachelorette with Bree Angelina on the 716 pod, chick from the 716 podcast. And it just dropped this morning. So check it out on all your major podcasting platforms. So because of that, Bree, my first question to you today is going to be this. What Buffalo Bill, regardless of their marital status or their relationship status, let's pretend they're all single gentlemen, what Buffalo Bill would make the best bachelor, or what Buffalo Bills would make the best bachelor?
So for this, I have a top 3, but I think I have a number 1. But we're going to start with Deion Dawkins. I feel like he has a lot of swagger and like he would just fit in well. And then Stephon Diggs as well. It's the same with the swagger and good energy. I feel like both of them would like just fit in well and just do well. And then my number 1 spot for this would be Matt Milano, mostly because his Instagram just reminds me of like a typical LA person. Like it's very fashionable, stylish, and it just reminds me of a lot of the contestants that go on. So he has to be the number 1 Bills Bachelor.
Did you actually know that Matt Milano is like a self-proclaimed minimalist? Like
I did not know that.
He lives in a studio apartment. He has very minimal furniture. I don't even think he has a dresser. I think he puts all of his clothes on like a single clothing rack. So
interesting.
Once whoever chooses Matt Milano to be their groom to be, he can move right in. It won't be a problem for
that's true.
And that'll change real quick. Yeah.
Adam, you mentioned in the message leading up to the show, you're like, why don't I get the Bachelor question? So Adam, who do you think would be the best Bachelor if the Buffalo Bills were doing the Bachelor or the Bachelorette?
frankly, I think the fact that I wasn't immediately thought of with that is a little sexist. And you watch your ass, Devo. I think Christian Wade is the obvious choice. People don't know him that well, but he's got that British accent. He's very charming, but he's also got that sort of like, humble and kind of, goofiness to him. But so he's mysterious, and we all love mystery, right? So I'm just saying, Christian Wade, he'd be the guy right there, number one.
Yeah, Dave, does anyone come to mind when you think of Bills as Bachelorette contestants? I think Trey White would cause some trouble in the house. He'd be a prankster.
Trey White would be the prankster. I feel like if you're actually Bree is right. Matt Milano probably from who would actually end up on the show. He's probably there, but Josh probably ends up on the show, right? I mean, he's very put together. He's gonna he's gonna be like the sweet guy in the house that tries to avoid conflict with everyone else, right? And he's gonna be there. He's like, I'm gonna respect all of you guys here. And I'm gonna respect Tisha, whoever the Bachelorette is right now. So I think, you got to throw Josh in the mix too, right?
Yeah, and someone just mentioned Isaiah McKenzie. I would love his little man
yeah.
throughout the entire, he'd be like the Kevin Hart, just walking around puffing his chest out, trying to. Elliot chimes in, and I was actually going to go there, Elliot. 'Tis the season to put your differences aside and to give shout outs to people that you normally wouldn't give a shout out to. So Corey Bojorquez, why not Corey Bojorquez? He's a juiced up punter. He's got a nice little mustache going on. He's got that sort of hipster vibe going. So, or Tyler Bass too, because it could be an older Bachelorette where she really likes Tyler, right? But Tyler's kind of that young kid, and she's just really not sure about the age difference. So she's going back and forth between the big-legged Tyler, and I'm putting way too much thought into this. But Jeffrey
it makes
Green,
sense though.
Jeffrey Green coming in. We're going to win the Super Bowl the next 3 years. Thank you, Jeffrey. We appreciate it. You'll get your name in there twice, so doubling up the chance to win.
We need a middle-aged Bachelorette or whatever, where we can see a Sean McDermott type. Because wouldn't you be curious to see how that guy would the
process inside of the Love Mansion?
I got you some process.
I got that. He's got that kind of gray vibe going on. What's gonna be happening behind closed doors with that guy? I don't know, man.
Some lady she appears in this amazing evening gown, and he just is like.
Yeah, could you just imagine him on a date, just telling the waiter, good job,
great service.
All right, so
the bedroom door closed, you hear clapping back there. I'm just saying.
What is it? Is it clapping or is it something?
I'm just saying. He's clapping. That's all.
So that question was catered towards Bree, obviously, because of her amazing breakdown every week of the Bills and the Bachelorette. So Adam, turning our attention to you used to have a special guest on your podcast, the NFL Basement, Connor J. Sullivan, and I tried my best. To get him to make a guest appearance today, and he wasn't ready to come out of hiding yet. So we're going to work on that and see if we can get him back on your podcast. But in the meantime, I got a nice little consolation prize for you from the Buffalo Bootleg himself. A happy holidays, a season's greeting from the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, Mr. John Gruden.
Bills Mafia. I hear something special's happening up in Orchard Park this year, man. And I've seen a lot out of this team. And more importantly, that fan base, Bills Mafia. They're grinding for their team right during the holiday season. So I'd like to wish you all a Merry Christmas and congratulations on the AFC East Championship, man. Get those Patriots out of here, man. Them scumbag Patriots, we hate them. We hate them, man. We hate them. Bills Mafia, Merry Christmas. The division's yours, man.
So, consolation prize, Max from the Bootleg doing his best John Gruden. I had to do it. I know it has nothing to do with the Bills, John Gruden, but I had to get Max to give us. We needed a consolation prize for not being able to get Connor J. Sullivan. So, all right, let's shift our focus now to a little bit of stuff on the field, and I want to talk about sort of. I know there's still 2 games left, but guess what, guys? We've clinched a playoff spot. We are currently the number 2 seed. We win one more game, and we are the number 2 seed because we have the tiebreaker with Pittsburgh, and we're AFC East champ. So it's good to take like a little break here and there, stop worrying about the grind of the season, and just a little time of reflection around the holiday season. So how we're going to start off sort of the talk of the football field today is MVP of the offense. We'll move on to the defense in a moment, but I want to talk about who are your guys' most valuable players on this season's offense. Now, we're going to a little caveat to this because every single person here would choose Josh Allen, I think. So what's going to happen is we're going to go in order. Bree's going to get to choose first, then Adam, then Dave, and then myself. And we will choose the Mount Rushmore of Bills MVPs this season, Bills offensive MVPs this season. And people in the chat section, don't forget, you guys can chime in with who you guys think should be the MVP of this offense as well, what you think about our choices, all of those good things. So in the comment sections, just like Carl N here, feel free to chime in. Carl says, Merry Christmas. Thanks for doing this. You guys are doing a great job. Thank you, Carl. We appreciate it. And you are now eligible, sir, to win some Buffalo Fanatics gear. So we've already got some things rolling in. So, Bree, we're going to start with you. Who do you think is the MVP of the Buffalo Bills offense this season?
I have to say Stephon Diggs. It's an easy answer, but I have to say it.
I'm surprised you didn't go with QB1 right away. You're gonna go. What makes you choose Stephon Diggs over taking the quarterback?
Well, I feel like Josh Allen's too easy of an answer, obviously. So then I had to go with Diggs. But either way, that duo, I've said it a million times in my podcast. It's like the duo we needed, and now we have it, and it's great.
Yeah. It's something I didn't even know I needed in my life because I never knew what it meant to have a quarterback and a wide receiver until these two came to town.
Yep.
Adam, who is your MVP this season?
Well, you have to think about if you take one player and, add or take him away, how much does the offense change? And of course, Josh Allen would be the obvious number one choice there. But I think the guy that doesn't get talked about, and I'll leave Josh Allen for one of you guys, is John Feliciano, and people do talk about him, but the fact is, to have a guard as your MVP, at the beginning of this season, I thought the Bills' offensive line was their worst unit on the team in terms of how they were playing. Feliciano comes in, the running game gets going. We're seeing pass protection much better. Brian Winters' ass is on the bench. Thanks, Butker. But Feliciano really changed the fortunes. And you think about this, outside the Cardinals, this winning streak we've had, Feliciano has been a big part of that. And I think he's the guy I would say has moved our team from, really good to great. We're the number 2 seed, and Feliciano is a big part of that. So he's my MVP in the offense.
Yeah, it's I'm a little shocked. I'm shooketh right now that we have gone from the obvious. We didn't even get the obvious yet in Josh Allen, but Jeffrey Green coming in saying my MVP from this team is Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, JA17. I believe we also got one from Sergio. Is that correct, Dave?
Yeah,
also got one from Sergio as well.
Yeah.
He's with you there. He's with you, Adam. He says Allen's, Diggs, Dawkins, Feliciano, Mount Rushmore. And I will say this offense took a massive shift or had a massive shift when John Feliciano came back into that lineup. But that being said, Dave, it's a layup for you, right? Who are you going with for your MVP? Your Mount Rushmore.
I'm going to force you to take the layup. I'm going to force you to take the layup because I know you were wanting to say something original, but I'm going to force you.
I'm going to have the generic answer now, I guess.
Yeah, you're going to have to take the generic answer because you're going to pick Josh Allen. So I'm like, there's a lot of good options here for me. So like, obviously I'm going to leave Josh Allen for you, but there's a lot of options here, right? You could go Dawkins on the left side, protecting Josh all year. You could go Darrell Williams as an underrated bookend on the right side, but I'm going to actually go with a double dip into the receiving group, and that's because of what our passing offense has become this year with obviously Diggs, Bree mentioned, but Cole Beasley is making my Mount Rushmore this year on offense. 79 catches, 950 yards out of the slot, a real security blanket and weapon for Josh this year. And like, how many times can we think of where Cole Beasley's made just third down grab after third down grab for first downs? He's always open. He's always trying to get upfield after he makes a catch. He's never dancing around. You can tell as soon as he catches the ball, he's like diving for that first down marker. He's tough for a smaller guy. He's having a career year. and he's like the Robin to Stephon Diggs Batman if you're talking about the receiving group. So for me, I'm going with Cole Beasley. I probably would have gone with an offensive lineman had Adam not taken Feliciano, but I'm not going to put two offensive linemen on the Mount Rushmore for this discussion. So we'll go with Cole Beasley, passing offense, one of the best in the NFL, and he's a big part of it.
I'll tell you what, I'm shook right now because I put myself last. So when I was creating my show notes, I was like, all right, time to get creative. And I figured Bree would go with Josh Allen. I figured Adam would go with Stephon. I figured Adam would go with Stephon Diggs. I figured Dave would go with Cole Beasley. And I would be left, with the big uglies up front. And my choice was not going to be John Feliciano if I went for the big uglies. I was trying to find some like cool, clever way of combining Deion Dawkins and Darrell Williams into one person. At one point, I came up with like the name Darrell Dawkins, but I realized that he was a center for the Atlanta Hawks in like the 1990s. Because those two deserve a ton of credit because Feliciano missed almost half the season. Mitch Morse has been out. That entire interior of the offensive line has been in flux all season. And those bookend tackles have been solid and sturdy all year. And I think they deserve a ton of credit. But that being said, honorable mention, I guess, to Deion Dawkins and Darrell Williams because I got to go with my man Josh Allen 17. I mean, what can we say? I'm literally, I'm like near tears at the end of like every single game, like not like in like a weird way because it's just like, holy crap, we have a quarterback, like a guy who can throw the ball more than 10 yards, a guy who can put up 40 touchdowns in a season, a guy who every week you're waiting for him to come down and he never comes down. Like every week he just tops what he does the week before, even when he's playing through an injury. Like all the greats do, he steers the team and he keeps them in a winning record. We've lost 3 freaking games all year in a season where I thought we'd win 9 games and win the division. So, kudos to Josh Allen. He's definitely number 1 with a bullet on my Mount Rushmore. And we got Jeffrey Green coming again. Thank you, Jeffrey. We love the support. He says Cole Beasley is a better version of Julian Edelman too. And here's what I will say, Jeff. You know what I love about Cole Beasley more than I love about Julian Edelman? It doesn't take him any steroids to do it. Like it's all natural. Yeah. It's all natural what Cole Beasley is doing.
I thought we were going to keep it civil for the holidays.
There's no such thing as keeping it civil with
too soon. There's no such thing as keeping it civil last week.
So what's the recap? We got Allen, Diggs, Beasley, and Feliciano. I like that group.
Yeah, with an honorable mention to the defensive. With an honorable mention to those defensive tackles. So let's shift it over to the defense now. And again, in the comment section, hit us up with who you think were the most valuable players on this year's defense. And I think this is where it gets a little bit interesting. I think this is where it gets super interesting because, it's everyone does their 111th on this defense. And it has, it wasn't pretty to start, but it's gotten pretty lately. So, Bree, we're going to start with you. Who is your MVP on this year's defense?
Okay, so my MVP for defense is Jordan Poyer because I feel like he's just always right there, like ready for the play and like can see it before it happens most of the time. So I have to give it to him.
Yeah. Rico said it on his last show too. Once he was done talking to Tyler Bass and Corey Bojorquez and Reed Ferguson, he said, I don't understand the Pro Bowl because, a cornerback like JC Jackson for the Patriots has 8 interceptions, doesn't make the Pro Bowl. Trey White does with far fewer interceptions. So it's like, do interceptions matter? Because in the safety spot, you got guys like Tyrann Mathieu who have 6 interceptions, making it over a guy like Jordan Poyer who only has 2. But he's also got 116 tackles. He's got 2 sacks. He's got some forced fumbles. Like the dude just makes a ton of plays. Like you don't see safeties making the plays that Jordan Poyer has made this year. And he's bailed us out in a lot of key situations. So I'm totally with you there on Jordan Poyer. Adam, who you got as your defensive MVP? We got Jordan Poyer so far.
Well, Poyer's an excellent choice. I mean, every week he's flashing, and you see him on the stat sheet. No doubt, great choice there, Bree. I'm going to have to go with the Kaiju. It's an obvious one. Tremaine Edmonds. That dude, he played injured, for a lot of the season. You saw the defense struggle. And when we talk about most valuable players, you got to ask, what is the difference when he's playing well and when he's not? And he rose out of Tokyo Bay and started wreaking havoc on opposing offenses like the kaiju he is. And that dude is a monster. He's definitely, whenever you see his stat line, he's leading the team in tackles, which he has a number of the past few weeks. The team wins and the defense is playing better. So he's definitely improved. You can tell the difference in his health. I think when he got better, you saw AJ Klein play better. You saw everybody around him playing better. So he's really the key to that defense, which doesn't surprise me with that McDermott style that came from Carolina.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. Like, injuries at that linebacker position, and he was stout in that middle of the defense all year, played through injuries. I give some of these players a ton of credit. Guys like Josh Allen played through things. Tremaine Edmonds played through things. A lot of these guys fought through some injuries this year, and that's what elite players do. They fight through those injuries, and they still get out there on the football field. Jeffrey Green coming in saying, Judge, what's your favorite moment from this year? I always appreciate it, Jeffrey. How about this? We're going to have a little bit of extra time because our man from Buffalo Rumblings, Bruce Nolan, is coming on and joining us at 8:40 to talk a little bit of Bills, Chiefs, and how they stack up. So how about we all do our favorite moments after we're done with this defensive segment? We will get to that. So thank you, Jeffrey. We won't forget you. We'll come back to it real quick. So we've got Jordan Poyer. We've got Tremaine Edmonds. Dave, who are you going with as your defensive MVP?
Yeah, so I'm not going to make this a layup for you because you're going to have to narrow down your list to a couple guys. But I'm going to go with Trey White. So, beginning of the season, maybe people were saying he wasn't kind of performing to the level he was towards the end of last year, but honestly, he wasn't getting thrown out a lot. You take a look at the types of receivers we had to play against this year compared to last year's schedule. We're going up against the likes of Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Christian Kirk, and DeAndre Hopkins. Like, we've gone up against a pretty murderer's row of receivers this year. And he's really come on as of late, right? He's had 3 picks in his last 5 games. He had the sack forced fumble last week against Denver, which was essentially the play that sealed the game and sealed the division. So he's got 1.5 sacks on the year. He's got 3 picks, and he's made the Pro Bowl again as a starter. So for me, it's one of those set and forget. You don't worry about Trey White. You just let him do his thing. You have him locked against the number 1 guy on the other team, or whoever their outside guy is, and he's again the steadying force back there in the corner position, where we've seen below him on the depth chart. There's been a lot of rotation and mixing and matching. So he's been the steady presence, Trey White, for me.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm going to go with Jerry Hughes because we got the safety in Jordan Poyer, we got the corner in Trey White, we got the linebacker in Tremaine Edmonds. So I'm going to go with Jerry Hughes, who's just been an unbelievable pass rusher for this team. Even though the stats don't show it, it doesn't show up on the stat sheet. Like, this dude forces pressure. He may not get to the quarterback, but he really does affect what the quarterback does and helps everybody out in the back end. But I'm not going to lie. Part of me wanted to give it to AJ Klein because this team was in a really tough spot. So I'm going to give an honorable mention to 2 guys, AJ Klein, because this team was in a really tough spot. Like, we could have lost some pretty key games if AJ Klein wouldn't have turned his game around when he did. AJ Klein turning his game around really helped the Buffalo Bills in a very crucial part of their schedule win some very crucial games. And if it wasn't for AJ Klein stepping up the way he did, who knows where we're sitting right now? We could be talking about duking it out with Miami for a wild card, or Miami could even be ahead of us if it wasn't for the play of a guy like AJ Klein stepping it up in some of those games more towards the late middle of the season. And Ed Oliver, just because of like the amount of people who are like, Ed Oliver sucks, he's a bust. Like, the dude has been playing his ass off all year. He was playing out of position earlier in the year at the 1 tech. Sacks aren't everything. The guy is a really good player, not just getting at the quarterback, but against the run as well. So shout out to Ed Oliver. Shout out to the whole defense for turning it around. Kudos to them. All right, that brings us back to Jeffrey Green, our man Jeffrey Green. Jeff, you are really improving your chances of winning this gear here because you got a ton of skin in the game. He says, "What's your favorite moment from this year?" Bree, I'll start with you. What was your favorite moment so far this year in the Bill season?
It honestly has to be like the whole Steelers game overall. It was my first game watching with actual Bills fans back in Buffalo. So the whole energy around the entire game was great. And beating the Steelers on top of that was great. I know a lot of Steelers fans as well. So it was good to see the Bills beat the Steelers.
Adam, how about you? What was your favorite moment from this season?
Well, there's so many. There's Josh Allen saying, "We're good. We're good." Yes, yes, you are, son. But I think my favorite moment was is actually in the locker room last week when Sean McDermott dropped an F-bomb, which is not like him. And but you could tell, he was getting emotional, and you could tell how much this meant to him. And it's such a culmination of things. This guy, McDermott, deserves so much credit for breaking down barriers and breaking down things that were holding us back for years. And I think that was such a symbolic moment. And you got to give that guy and Leslie Frazier and Brian Daboll so much credit, Brandon Bean. But McDermott is the fulcrum. He's the leader. Let's get that straight, for everybody. And that moment was real special to me.
Dave, how about you? What was your favorite moment so far this season?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, like Adam said, but I think, going through that tough stretch where we lost to Tennessee and Kansas City back-to-back weeks, obviously we kind of got the layup game where we did struggle a little bit against the Jets and beat them. And then obviously the New England game, which was just a old school sort of smash mouth style. But for me, it was the game after that where we came out and it was Russell Wilson against Josh Allen. And Russell Wilson at that time was, if not the top, right up there as far as the top of the MVP conversation. And the Bills came out and just took it to Seattle. And that was kind of AJ Klein's coming out party on the turnaround. So for me, that moment was big because it showed that, after a couple tough losses and then some kind of I wouldn't call the New England game subpar, but like passing wise and like total effort wise wasn't our best, to come out and then beat Seattle at the time where they were really hot and Russell Wilson was kind of in that top of the MVP conversation. And at the same time, AJ Klein really turning his play around and really the entire defense playing a great game. That game to me was a pivotal point in the season because it kind of set us on that track that we're on now. And outside of that, obviously the Hail Murray, that was right sort of in the beginning of what would have been an 8-game sort of winning streak and winning at 7 out of 8. So for me, it's that Seattle game because that's really what, for me, proved that this team was truly legit and could go toe-to-toe with anybody.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. That Seattle game was great. We got a couple of super chats coming in here real quick. We got Leo Phillips, or not super chats, but just chats in general. The first pass win was really fun. Justin Zimmer, somebody mentioned earlier, knocking that ball out. How clutch was that play from Justin Zimmer? Talk about, what was that movie? Any Given Sunday, Al Pacino. It's a game of inches, right? And Justin Zimmer knocking that football out, game of inches. Where would we be right now had we not beaten those New England Patriots? One of my favorite, Rick James coming in with how many times we got to score with the Josh Allen voice crack. And guess what? I got you hooked up. Let's relive that moment right now.
Penalty marker thrown on the far side of the field at the 10.
I mean, Josh Allen doing his best. What was it? Adam, you're older, right? Was that Peter Brady from the Brady Bunch whose voice cracked?
All right, take it easy, kid.
Caitlin coming in saying favorite moment of this year is yet to come. I'll let you know in February, and I like that. So point in time right now, yes, but that will be, I mean, everybody's obviously if that happens. So thank you, Caitlin, for that super chat.
Yep. And Caitlin, you will be eligible to win a shirt as well. I'll write your name down one moment, but I got Manny here. He says favorite moment was when Alan's grandma passed. How can we forget about that? This holiday season of giving. Grandma passed away in the locker room scene after. They have been on fire ever since, and they really have. And it just goes to show, like, what you really got to love about this football team is the fact that they really, they truly are a family. We were having this conversation on our last show. Somebody said the Bills of the 90s were a brotherhood, but this is a family. The Bills of the 90s were a brotherhood, but this is a family. I really like that line. I think that was Randy Harmon who came in with sort of got us on that path. So for me, I'm gonna go with Dave, that Seattle game, because I mentioned earlier it was the Bills got off to this really hot start. It was really fun, and I just kept waiting. I'm like, when's it going to come back down to earth? When's it going to come back down to earth? Then we lost the Titans game. Then we lost the Chiefs game. Then we started winning again, but it wasn't the prettiest wins in the world. It was just sort of like 2019 type of Bills type of stuff. And then, he erupted in that Seattle game, a game where I didn't have the highest hopes going in. So like Josh Allen, like I said, he hasn't gone away. You keep expecting him to go away. You keep expecting this run to come crashing down to earth and for it to be the same old Bills, and it just hasn't happened yet. And the Seattle game is what really sealed that one for me. So I see we got a comment here from Jeffrey. You want to read it real quick, Dave, while I add some of these names to the drawing here?
So Jeffrey's saying, my favorite moment was when the clock hit 0 and we're AFC East champs. And, that was obviously the most recent game. We beat Denver. And, that is a moment of culmination, right? I think of what's kind of transpired throughout even going into the season. A lot of, most people and Vegas included kind of figured the Bills would win this division. And for it to actually come to fruition and the Bills actually, followed through on that sort of expectation that they had on themselves was a nice moment because like you were saying, Steve, like how many times maybe in the past have we all kind of been like, when are the Bills going to kind of come back to earth or kind of go Bills on us and kind of disappoint us? But they delivered on this and they delivered on it in style, right? And beating Denver the way they did. So really a great moment. And you could tell that, a lot of people based on social media were enjoying themselves afterwards. So yeah, I mean, that's a great moment as far as that's concerned. And Caitlin comes in again and says the Pats getting eliminated.
Yeah,
same.
Petty me also wants to say that because we talked enough about this on the last show. I had myself some fun at the expense of Patriots fans last week. And we got Jeff coming in again. Jeff, we really appreciate it. Says I want a better lookout because the Bills are going to be AFC champions. Yeah. So let's not count our eggs before they're hatched. Maybe there is better yet to come. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break for about 1 minute, and we're going to bring on a special guest, Mr. Bruce Nolan. But while we wait, oh no, I forgot to upload the video that I wanted to play. So while we wait and while we bring in Mr. Bruce Nolan, we got a special guest who wants to give you guys a holiday shout out from the Bills Wire. Our guy, Mr. Social Media himself, Bradley Gelber.
Hey guys, Brad Gelber here from the Bills Wire. All of us at the Bills Wire just wanted to wish you a happy holidays and a Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for reading and listening to all of our content this year. I know 2020 has been a tough one for a lot of people, but hopefully 2021 brings some better memories and maybe even a Bills playoff win. So happy holidays and thanks for everything you guys do.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back real quick with Bruce Nolan of Buffalo Rumblings. How you doing this afternoon or this morning? I'm so used to afternoon and evening. How you doing this morning, Bruce?
Dude, it's a party all the time. Just disco balls, dancers. I don't know how we could ask for anything otherwise.
And my question to you is this: you have these some might say godlike powers. Could you get the people in Buffalo? Could you get that rain to go away and give them some snow for Christmas? Can you do that for the people?
There are limitations to my abilities.
Not from what
plus, I mean, you've seen what happens, guys, when you fiddle with stuff you're not supposed to fiddle with. I mean, the Sabres could win a Stanley Cup and everyone could win the lottery, but really, when has anybody really known what they really want?
Yeah. That is true. So, we definitely don't want to fool around with that because we definitely don't want to sort of like start a butterfly effect where the Buffalo Bills end up not winning the Super Bowl like they are going to in 2020. So the reason why we brought you on here, Bruce, is because my mind has been on the Kansas City Chiefs for quite some time now, ever since we've clinched the AFC East. Sort of the old West Wing quote from Jed Bartlett, like, what's next? All right, won the AFC East. What's next? That's always been on my mind since that AFC East title. And so Patrick Mahomes has been in the back of this guy's head. He is haunting my dreams. So the reason why I wanted to bring you on here is I want you to sort of break down how the Buffalo Bills stack up against these Kansas City Chiefs. How do you think the Buffalo Bills would fare if they met the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC East title game?
I think stylistically, the game probably wouldn't resemble the Bills-Chiefs game from earlier this year, basically at all. There were a lot of other factors involved in that particular game. And I think that if you look at the way that the Saints played the Chiefs, and you look at the way that the Raiders played the Chiefs, and you look at the way that some of these teams have played the Chiefs, what you'll notice is that Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce make that offense go. And that sometimes when they're forced to work to their secondary and tertiary options, that it's not always a level of trust there. I mean, you watch Patrick Mahomes and Mecole Hardman, for example, and there's clearly not that same level of trust. There's multiple times where you'll see Patrick Mahomes on the sideline talking to Mecole Hardman like, hey, I wanted you to do this and you did that. And there's a certain level of trust that enables Patrick Mahomes' playmaking abilities. That's really important. The playmaking abilities that you see from Josh Allen are partially unlocked by the relationship he has with Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley. In the same way, the playmaking abilities of Travis Kelce and the playmaking abilities of Tyreek Hill help to unlock Patrick Mahomes. And so I think really the key when it comes to the Kansas City game is not just can you keep pace. It's not just that simple. It's also understanding that you have to get Mahomes to not trust what he's seeing. You have to make sure you throw a lot of things at him and have him start to think a little bit less about, you know what, my guy's going to make this play. He's going to be in this spot. It's going to be great. And so a lot of what Kansas City's route concepts are built on is making sure that the wide receivers, the tight ends, and Patrick Mahomes see the same thing. So a lot of this stuff has to be adjusted post-snap to introduce as much variability as possible into the post-snap processing for both the wide receivers and the quarterback. So that's a big part of it, in addition to just the whole, let's make sure you score points.
Yeah, I'm with you, because one of the things that you mentioned was his relationship with Hill and Kelce. And in the last game, the Buffalo Bills did a really good job of taking Tyreek Hill out of the game. One of the things they struggled with was taking Travis Kelce out of the game. Does Matt Milano play a bigger role in maybe a second matchup if they were to play each other, guarding a guy like Travis Kelce?
Absolutely he does. 100% he does. In addition, Tremaine Edmonds was not playing well at that time of the year. He was still playing hurt. The linebacker play goes as this defense goes. It's that simple. You can say this is a linebacker-centric defense, and then the linebackers don't play well and the defense doesn't play well, and all of a sudden we start looking for other excuses like, oh my gosh, Ed Oliver's a bust. Well, hold on now. You spent the last however many years saying this was a linebacker-centric defense. It was a linebacker-centric defense when it was in Carolina too, with Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly. And if the linebackers are playing well, which they were not at the time of the Kansas City game, Tremaine Edmonds was playing hurt, Matt Milano was hurt, they were dealing with all this stuff. AJ Klein still hadn't become the run in a straight line and make some plays AJ Klein that we know him to be now. So the linebacker play has a very, very significant part of playing defense against a team that has Travis Kelce. And Travis Kelce is a great player, but the Bills invested in an absolute freak at middle linebacker specifically to deal with things like this. When you have a 6'5", 245-pound linebacker with ridiculous arms, you did that specifically to counter some of these things. And when that player is not playing well, then what was the point? So linebackers are going to be a big part of it. And if they keep playing well, that bodes well for the Bills against the Chiefs.
Bruce, I have a question for you, because we saw this against Seattle, right, where the Bills did a good job being aggressive, and against a mobile quarterback in Russell Wilson, they kind of kept him contained in the pocket. And that was one of the issues we kept talking about sort of when we were struggling a bit, is that, Tannehill and Mahomes the first time around, they were able to kind of break what contain we did have, which wasn't much, and kind of make plays outside the pocket. And we've seen Mahomes time and time again get outside the pocket, make plays. We saw him throw it into the corner last week. We see him do it all the time where he throws across his body, roll into his right. How important is it going to be for the Bills to keep Mahomes in the pocket if they meet up with him again? And is it the same game plan that we employed against Seattle, or is it a different means of keeping him in the pocket?
I don't necessarily know that you need to roll out the same game plan that you rolled out against Russell Wilson. Patrick Mahomes has a level of trust with his two main targets that when you see him break containment, they know what to do. They know what to do when they jumpstart the scramble drills. One of the reasons why he's constantly looking for Kelce or Tyreek Hill when he breaks the pocket, because they know what to do. There is a specific set of rules when you come to the scramble. Short goes long, long goes short. These are the things. Tyreek Hill's always coming back to the ball, and Travis Kelce is always running away from the ball. That's what happens when he breaks contain, because that's the way you're supposed to act when you have a scramble drill. And so when you have them down to a science like that, you're not really going to ask your defensive backs to deal with that. That's not really how you're going to process it. You're going to ask your defensive linemen to deal with it. You're going to ask them to stay disciplined in their rush lanes, which they did not do a good job against Patrick Mahomes the first time we saw him. I thought we had Trent Murphy out there again because we were running so far upfield that there was some fairly significant opportunities, especially on significant downs. We all will recall some 3rd and longs potentially that upset us a little bit against the Chiefs. And that's part of it. If you want Patrick Mahomes to run the scramble drill, you want him to jumpstart it on purpose. You want him to do it because he got through his reads and was like, crap, I don't have a way to go with this. And you want it to panic. So you don't want him to jumpstart the scramble drill because there's an opening and he wants to have a big play. You want him to go to the scramble drill as part of an organic process because he ran out of options. And to do that, you got to keep rush lane integrity. You got to get your hands up.
Yeah, I think the last time the Bills played the Chiefs, we also have to remember, you mentioned it already, AJ Klein, guys like Ed Oliver, Levi Wallace, Harrison Phillips, they were all busts like 7 or 8 weeks ago. Bills Mafia wanted to get rid of them. So now that they're playing well again, the Buffalo Bills, I think, have a good shot, especially in the running game, because I don't think that this Chiefs team could run over this Bills team for 200 plus yards the way that they did a couple of weeks ago too. So before you head out here, Bruce, one question for you. We got Bree Costello here. She is the host of the Chick from the 716 podcast, and she is all about the Buffalo Bills and the Bachelorette. So little off the cuff question to you here. What Buffalo Bills player do you think would make the best contestant on the Bachelorette?
Oh, goodness gracious. I mean, the obvious answer is Matt Milano.
That was Bree's answer. That was Bree.
Right? I think that's pretty much the obvious answer. He is dashingly handsome, so that helps. And he has this kind of quiet man of mystery where the women are going to want to kind of break through his facade and his exterior and really get to know him. He has a minimalist, sort of simple lifestyle. I think it creates a compelling character for reality television. I think that's probably a big part of it. Also, I think Ed Oliver has a huge personality, and I think that would probably help as well. So,
go horseback riding.
Horseback riding, very romantic on the beach with some sort of white button-down shirt that's always unbuttoned. Things like that. I think those are probably my two answers off the top of my head.
Yeah, mine was Corey Bojorquez with the mustache, Jack punter. He's got a lot of time on his hands, so he can really devote, since he doesn't punt a lot anymore, since the Bills never punt. He's got a lot of time to devote to really tending to the needs of the Bachelorette. So, Bruce,
hey, that's the answer. Come on.
We want to say thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Take a minute to thanks Bills Mafia and talk about what's going on at Buffalo Rumblings.
First off, thanks so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate you taking some time out of your Christmas Eve and joining me for this and having me hop in and give you a little piece of my mind. I'm Bruce Nolan. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Bruce Exclusive. My podcast, The Bruce Exclusive, drops every Thursday and Friday on the Buffalo Rumblings Podcast Network.
All right. Thank you so much, Bruce. We really appreciate it. You have a good one.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks,
Merry
Bruce.
Christmas to you.
You as well. All right. So thank you so much, Bruce. We really appreciate it. We're still waiting on Greg Tomset for cover one, so we'll just have a quick discussion for a couple of minutes as we wait on Greg. But yeah, I think Bruce brings up some really good points. Dave, how do you think the Buffalo Bills stack up against Kansas City Chiefs if we were to meet them in the AFC East title game?
Well, I certainly feel more confident now than I did the first time around, right? I mean, we've proven as we've gone through this sort of season that the Bills, obviously, it's been well documented, have handled a very difficult schedule. They have played well against top defenses. So, the Chiefs actually do have a statistically good pass defense. But I think Bruce is right? This is a different team that will be playing the Chiefs even when we get to that point. But for the Chiefs, they're largely the same team in my mind. So, if the Chiefs have kind of stayed steady, which is not a bad thing for them. Obviously, they're the class of the league. But for us to now be on an upward trajectory and kind of getting close to that ceiling we have, I think that not that I'm going to say not that I bet money that we'd win, but I'd say we'd have a good chance to win and one of the better chances of any team to knock them off.
All right. So we've got Greg in our waiting room right now, and he'll be joining us in about 30 seconds. Before we talk to Greg, we got a special message from Mr. Joe Marino of the Locked On Bills podcast.
What's up, Bills Mafia? It's Joe Marino from the Locked On Bills podcast. I just want to take a quick moment and say thank you so much for your support on Locked On Bills. I know I can speak on behalf of all the fantastic Bills podcast hosts out there and say that we're very grateful for your listenership. Happy holidays and go Bills.
All right. We are joined now by the only person I think that is capable of following Bruce Nolan and Joe Marino, the man who's trying to come after my beard game. Him and Joe are trying to come after this beard game. Greg Tomsett from Cover One Buffalo. How you doing today, Greg?
Doing great, guys. Merry Christmas. I hope everybody's doing well, and I have no problem filling the shoes for Bruce and Joe. That's not a problem.
How's the weather looking there? Are you in Buffalo right now, or are you in Ohio?
So we're back in Ohio. Spent the weekend with my family up in Buffalo and had a wonderful time. We're back here now, and it was rainy yesterday, but I think we're supposed to have a white Christmas. My daughter's pretty pumped about it.
Yeah, I was about to ask, are you actually going to get to enjoy that white Christmas? Out here in Phoenix, what we do is we take a light projector that projects snowflakes, and we stake it into the ground and project it onto our house. So that's how
I have one of those too. It's like red and green sparkles, but we get the real thing, sadly.
All right. So the reason why we brought you on here is to talk a little bit of defense today, because I think all of us here are in agreement that the Buffalo Bills are legitimate Super Bowl contenders this year, not next year, not the year after, but this year. And one of the things that really carries when you travel on the road, if the Buffalo Bills end up with the 3 seed or end up, in the AFC title game, is defense. Defense always carries. Defense always, is a really important part of playoff football. So our defense has really turned things around over the course of the 2020 season. Fans were up in arms. Quite frankly, we were pretty scared at one point of the way our defense was playing. What has this defense done to really turn themselves around as a unit as the 2020 season has progressed?
So, I mean, there's a lot of different things that go into that. It's really a cocktail of items, and you have health is a big piece of it. It's an element where we went a long time without the same 4 guys in the secondary playing at the same time, that you had different pieces in and out of the linebacker unit. And then the one unit that was healthy was the unit that had the most new pieces introduced, which is on the defensive line. Now, would I still have liked to see a little bit better performance earlier anyways? Yes. I think that it was still disappointing that some of those things caused that kind of performance that early, but it really did hurt a lot, and that going through those different things. So you saw some of those things come together. Obviously, Milano, we've lost for a big stretch, now getting him back in small doses. So the combination of the talent, the injuries, and those things, that's still only a piece of it. Mm-hmm. You also have kind of defensive leadership and the defensive brain trust between Leslie Frazier and Sean McDermott that had to spend the first 3 seasons here clawing and scratching to keep everything together with bubblegum and duct tape. Because if we let up an extra score, we couldn't come back. And if we let up an extra possession, it was too late and we weren't going to be able to hold on. Well, now you have an offense that's scoring at a top 5 clip in the league and that's hitting explosive plays. That also gave them the confidence, the freedom, the flexibility to be more aggressive than what we've seen. So they didn't drastically change, coverage schemes. They still disguise coverages better than anybody else in the league. They still run stunts. We were always mugging up the A gaps and, sitting there pretending like we were going to come and then dropping back and not knowing which 4 guys were coming. But they've really ratcheted up the aggression, because now if we make a big play, if we cause a turnover, if we get a negative play, now you're end the game, because now you give us an extra score. And if we go for that aggressive shot and we give up a deep touchdown to Brandon Ayuk, or we give up a big play to James Washington, that's all right. We'll get him back. We'll probably match the score anyways, and then we'll go for it again. And then when Levi Wallace gets the interception or Taron Johnson gets the pick 6, well, now it's over, because now our offense is just going to pull away. they've never had that luxury before. So it's a combination of those things. I don't think it's one guy. I don't think it's just injuries. I don't think it's just coaching aggression, but it's defensive line getting, used to stunting off each other, used to playing the games together, getting the linebackers healthy, learning how to use guys like AJ Klein more aggressively, and then the secondary getting healthy along with aggressive coaching. And now we're seeing, I don't know if the top 2 or 3 defense we had in years past, but it's darn good.
And, Greg, I want to ask you something about a tweet you made. I think it was yesterday when you were talking about how
I can't be held responsible for what I tweet.
No, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but it was something along the lines of, a lot of Bills fans were clamoring for the Bills to make a move ahead of the trade deadline, right? And you made a witty, dry kind of comment about we should, save this in our holster for when we go through this sort of trade deadline frenzy in future years, that we should trust more. That brain trust you mentioned, we should trust them more when maybe things don't on the surface appear to be going our way with the likes of AJ Klein, or we're battling injuries at the corner position or what have you. So, you mentioned health in as being a factor, but from a coaching perspective, right? Coaching on the field and the scheme and all that, but should there be more, or what, does this do more for you? Because we've already trusted McDermott and Frazier to an extent with these defenses they put on the last couple of years, but does this do more for you? Does this enhance your trust level in the brain trust just from a personnel decision-making perspective going forward? Or what does this do for you from that perspective, knowing that sometimes the right move to make is not making a move at all?
So, I mean, obviously that's pretty results oriented. So it's easy now to say, yes, absolutely. Of course I did. I do think it's interesting. And the reason I put out the tweet is that the 3 players that were the most maligned and the 3 exact spots people were going after was AJ Klein at linebacker, Taron Johnson at nickel, and Vernon Butler at defensive tackle. They are the 3 most improved players on the team in that stretch since week 9. And, at the time, at the trade deadline, I was trying to be very reasonable in the sense that I was trying to explain to fans that I don't think we had some silver bullet solution out there. I don't think there was a guy we were going to get that was going to solve it if we got, and whether it was Desmond King or whether it was Tomlinson or someone like that. Hey, I'd be on board for sure. I'd be excited about that if we got a cheap guy that didn't cost a lot of money, didn't give up a lot of draft capital, and we added him to the mix. That's great. But I didn't think there was some silver bullet solution. I kept chanting over and over again, the answer is on the roster. We need the guys on the roster to play better. And that was also Trey White stepping forward. That was also Tremaine Edmonds getting better. No one was going to be better than Ed Oliver being what we thought he was going to be. All those things was what I was kind of talking about at the time, that we needed that to happen. Now, the fact that the 3 guys that everybody was out with pitchforks and torches after also improved is great. I mean, that's a bonus. I don't know that I expected those guys to have this step forward, but it does speak to, they know if a guy is really close but not quite getting there, or that, they know in film breakdown that, hey, Butler, he went the wrong angle off of this stunt, and that if he had gone really tight off of Ed's hip, he would have got a sack, and that we're going to get that now as we start to get that rhythm and that chemistry together. Or that, hey, Taron was in and out and he's not used to playing with Norman, or that now he had Dane Jackson behind him and then he's used to communicating with Levi, and that he, it made him look bad because they gave up some space between them in the coverage. They know those things that even people like Eric, my partner over at Cover One, he breaks down film better than anybody. There's still stuff he doesn't know. Like, we don't know what the calls were, what their responsibility was. We can react to what we saw. So having faith in those kind of things, that they know whether it was worth it or whether they needed to panic. And the frustrating part, that the reason I was a little snarky in the tweet, was seeing people come out and say that, oh, this shows that Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott don't think we're contending and aren't taking the season seriously. Right. And that infuriated me. Just because they didn't make some panic move to just throw, meat to the lions here just to kind of calm you down, that doesn't mean that at all. They still have a lot of confidence in this team, but I get it. It's the impatient, want it now nature of everything in life.
All right. So Greg, our question of the day, and I want you to just answer this off the top of your head. because we're a little short on time here. We got Del Reed in the waiting room.
Beautiful.
No explanation. But if you were to pick one Buffalo Bills player to star in a season of The Bachelorette as a contestant, which Buffalo Bills player are you choosing?
That's awesome. Honestly, maybe Isaiah McKenzie.
Yeah, there it is.
Isaiah McKenzie is entertaining. He's a handsome man. He's a good-looking man.
It's the little man syndrome. The little man syndrome. He would start so much drama.
I would watch a season of Isaiah McKenzie on The Bachelorette. That's a handsome man.
All right, Greg. Thank you so much for your time.
Cool.
Give a quick
Appreciate
shout
it,
out to cover one Buffalo, and take this chance to wish Bills Mafia happy holidays.
Absolutely. Come and check us out. Cover1.net on the Cover One app. Cover One Buffalo. We got the full squad going there. Preview shows every Wednesday night. Post game shows right after the game. You can follow me on Twitter. It's follow at your own warning. I try to have some fun with Bills fans and enjoy myself. And I just want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Hope everyone enjoys time with family and friends. And this is a really weird time in a weird year, and that the community online and amongst Bills Mafia and Bills fans has been a bright spot. And certainly for me personally, and I think for many of us, that this has been a wholesome, happy, positive thing to cling to when there's a lot of negative going on around us. And I just want to say thank you for that.
Well, thank you, Greg. We appreciate
see you,
your
Greg.
work.
Appreciate it, guys.
We're going to take a quick short break here. Brother Bill will be leading this faux commercial we have here. So we got a message from the spirit animal of Bills Mafia, Brother Bill, and then we will bring on the president. I know he doesn't like to be called that, but the president of Bills Mafia, Del Reed. Thank you so much, Greg. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Greg.
What's up, guys? Brother Bill here. If I have to pick one thing I'm most thankful for the Buffalo Bills this year, I think it's got to be Josh Allen. I know it's cliche, but he's the man. He's given us hope and something we haven't experienced in so long. He's just like the franchise QB. He's finally here. He is the man. He is elite. I don't care what Nick Wright says. I don't care what any pundit says. We know who he is. He's going to show it coming up this January too. If I had to pick one play, though, I'm most thankful for, I'm going with the Jerry Hughes fumble return from last game. That was awesome. Jerry's been here forever. I love to see him succeed. I love to see him part of the winning now. So that was just amazing to see, especially the way he did it, holding it like shady and juking people out of their gym shorts. That was unreal. Merry Christmas, guys. Bills by a billion.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to Brother Bill for that message there. So it has been quite a season for Bills Mafia. We, 11-3. We've won the AFC East for the first time in 25 years. Not a single fan has been allowed in the stadium. But despite all of that, the Buffalo Bills and the Bills Mafia community always finds the silver lining. We had the Josh Allen donations to the Oshai Children's Hospital that came pouring in after his grandmother's passing. And we bring on Del Reed of 26 Shirts to talk about 26 Shirts reaching a real milestone. First of all, good morning, Del. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me on. It's an honor to follow the Greg Thompson. I love that dude. He's one of the smartest people I follow.
This might be the most star power we've ever packed into a show. So it was Bruce, followed by a message from Joe Marino. Then we had Greg. Then we had Brother Bill, and now it all culminates with you. So no pressure, man. No pressure.
Yeah, you pretty much got our whole fantasy league in on this, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah, we might have to get Brother Bill into the fantasy league next year. Bring some of that. So
the one outlier.
Yeah. The one question I really want to pose.
Real quick question: who's in the final for that league?
Oh, goodness! It was Bruce and. Was it Bruce and Talbot or was it Bruce and Perino?
I think it's Bruce and somebody else.
Oh, okay. I can pull it up real quick. But it was Bruce and somebody. So it was that he was looking down and out in that fantasy league and he came back. It was Bruce. It's Bruce and you. Oh, it's Bruce and you. Would you look at that? First of all, I was eliminated like 2 weeks ago, so I stopped paying attention. But you've been blowing up my messages on this app too. Before on draft day, we were in that Google Meets or that Zoom or whatever, and you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just guessing. And sure enough, here you are in the championship game. You were playing us for a fool. You were like Kevin Spacey at the end of Reservoir Dogs. There, you were limping, then you start strutting now.
I'm no Kaiser Soze. That was all authentic. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I'm ready to get destroyed by Bruce's team this weekend. But it's been a fun ride.
Got a super chat here from Reed. Really appreciate Reed. He says, this might sound cheesy, but you guys have really made this Bill season memorable. Thank you guys for the great content and great shows all season long. We thank you, Reed. You were one of the original listeners of our podcast. I believe you even have some Bills guys swag. That's how much of a supporter you are. So we really do appreciate it, Reed. And you are now, sir, in the running for some Buffalo Fanatics swag that we will be giving away when we are done here shortly talking to Dell, the man who is sitting in the championship game of the Bills Media Dynasty League. Next year is my year, I swear. Typical Bills fan, next year is my year. But you guys just reached a milestone there at 26 shirts, $1 million in total. Is it total sales or money raised for charity?
Oh, money raised for charity. That's how much we've, raised and given out into, the people that we help and the charities and everything.
That's really awesome. And I wanted to bring you on here because I know you've talked about it quite a bit on a couple of different outlets. I want to give you a chance here for the next, couple of minutes. Talk about what goes on behind the scenes at 26 Shirts and give some shout outs to people who many in Bills Mafia might not know about that go into making 26 Shirts what it is.
Yeah. So I mentioned that in the video we released this week that like everybody thinks that like 26 Shirts is Del Reed and Del Reed is 26 Shirts. And, while that's true, it's not exclusively me. I mean, I'm only one part of this entire operation. I have a business partner, Dan Giganti, who, we're 50-50, owners of this whole thing. So I might be the face, but he's doing, a lot of stuff behind the scenes as well too. And we have, Josh, Banksy on Twitter. He's our creative director. A lot of the designs are executed. A lot of them are conceived in his head. And a lot of it, they're almost all, executed through his hands, aside from the freelance artists that we work with who, people out in the community who just want to share their talents and do good to help people. So it'd be, remiss to mention them. And then, obviously, we have a few other employees as well too. We have Caitlin who runs our social media and public relations and lately customer service, because it's been crazy just keeping up with all these orders and stuff. We have Nick, and then we have another Joshua who handle our fulfillment. We got a new employee starting Monday. So I'm just one piece of this whole puzzle. Like I'm the one who tweets the most about it, and I'm the one who has the honor of being able to deal with a lot of these families directly. But I'm just one guy, obviously, West Her and Value Home Centers, like it would be so wrong for me not to mention them. I mean, their sponsorships, what they do, West Her was the first sponsor to come on and really like commit. Like we were having like rotating sponsors every couple of weeks. And then West Her was like, we want to just do this for you guys. And so they set up a whole model, and now we're able to bring in another sponsor as well too. So without them, we don't do half of this stuff, because frankly, every business advisor we talk to says you give too much, and so now whenever we talk to somebody, whether it's, whomever, that Dan and I always start the conversation with, just so there's some non-negotiables here. We don't give too much. We give what we are called to give, what we feel we would give more if we could, but our sponsors make that happen. Without them, we can't do this. So, so there's a lot of people going. It's a lot going into 26 Shirts, and obviously we can design all the shirts we want, but if people don't buy them, it means it doesn't do anything. So everybody's a part of this.
Now you've mentioned previously, like, and I can imagine that each of these shirt designs and each of these logos and all the different things that you guys do, now on a bi-monthly basis, correct? Not a monthly basis, a bi-monthly basis. These things must be like your babies, your logos, you obviously don't want to play favorites, but say you were asked to be on a platform like, Michael Strahan called and said, hey, you want to come on, Good Morning America, or, I don't even know who hosts anymore, but Trey Wingos, calls and says, hey, you want to come on NFL Live? What shirt are you rocking? Like, what is maybe one of the shirts that you're more proud of from your 26 shirts collection?
Well, it's a good, you say like children. That's actually the analogy I use all the time. I have a really hard time because for me, a lot of the shirts, I immediately connect those with the family we helped, So, but if I had to push all of that aside and just go on pure design, there's probably 5 or 10 that I would struggle with the night before going on NFL Live or Good Morning America or whatever. But I think the one that would win out is we did one a couple summers ago, just a black shirt, white print. I might have a picture of it. I actually got I got to meet Chris Berman, and
nice.
It just says "Nobody Like Us," and it's not super Billsy or anything in terms of what it looks like, but man, I love the design. It's so clean. Everybody thinks it says "Nobody likes us." That's fine, but that was true maybe a couple years ago. Now everybody's hopping on the Bills bandwagon, but that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's I just got in the mail yesterday, actually, the ones with New York in it, the New York emblem and the home. I got one in the Bills color, and I got one in the Sabres color. So I want to appreciate that. I actually have a very similar type of logo, and carved into some rustic old wood, but instead of the New York State, it's a standing buffalo with home carved into it.
Nice.
I actually plan on getting that one, tattooed on my body somewhere soon. Haven't decided where yet. I might let you choose since you're the president of Bills Mafia. You can choose where I get the tattoo.
President. Yeah, whatever.
So
I'm not making that choice for you, man. Because
everyone's like, "Hey, where'd you get that too? Where'd you get that? Why'd you get that tattoo on your forehead?" Oh, Del Reed told me to. It's no big deal. All right, one final question for you, and we've been asking everybody this before you pop out. Bree over here is a Bachelor and Bachelorette connoisseur, and she wants to know, or we've been sort of brainstorming, what Buffalo Bill do you think would make the best contestant on the season of The Bachelor or The Bachelorette?
That's a good question because I've literally never watched one episode, and I'm not trying to show off my man card or anything, I promise, but I've never seen an episode. I guess I'll go with Matthew Milano just because I see a lot of tweets, from female fans. It's they've got a thing for Matthew Milano, so maybe he would crush it. Maybe he'd do really well on that show because I guess he's easy on the eyes. So
yeah, I think he is the leader in the clubhouse right now. He had Bruce. Oh yeah, he had Bruce's vote. He's got Bree's vote. Greg went with Isaiah McKenzie. I went with Bojorquez. Adam, who did you go with? You went with
Christian Wade.
Christian Wade.
That accent would kill, man.
And then Dave, who did you have, Dave?
I said Josh Allen. I mean, he's still eligible. Still eligible.
We got a question here from John. John, I want to say, is it Rude? Rude?
Yeah.
Rude? Is it Rude? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be rude and mispronounce his last name. He says, my favorite at 26 shirts is whatever they release next. Do you maybe want to give us a sneak preview or talk about what shirt is being released right now and what caused it?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I know John. It's good to see you, buddy. Thank you so much. So what we got going on right now is I actually have one here. We're actually doing our best to print and ship during the campaign, which we never do. But this is different, right? This is a special thing. So, how Buffalo took the division. Let me see that backwards on my camera. Which way am I going? All right, perfect. So
yeah, you're good.
Yeah. So so that's the one we're doing right now. It supports a man named Jason Patton who lives in Cuba, New York. Him and his daughter are both dealing with different issues. He has a condition called CIDP. She has a seizure condition. They're both pretty debilitating. He's in rough shape. The daughter's condition, she's been suffering for a few years, and his wife has been a full stay-at-home mom, just caregiver. And then he just developed this condition over the summer. Doesn't have a job with health insurance, and so they're in a tough way right now. So we really just want to do what we can to help. And it's obviously every family that we help, we want to do the absolute best we can for them. Jason's story just really struck a chord with me, and I'm really glad it's working out this way. This is now, a top 3 seller ever for us. So I'm really glad we're able to do that for him and his family. So, and that's why we do it. So
awesome. Thank you so much, Del. We really appreciate it. Thank you for sticking on. I know you stayed an extra 5 minutes with us, so we really appreciate it.
Hey, no, it's fine. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm the one that preloaded with all that fancy football smack talk, so that's on me. So that's fine.
And don't worry, just know that I will be rooting for you this weekend. Don't you worry. I think Bruce.
That's the underdog. You're going with the underdog because Bruce's team is buzzsaw right now.
I love Bruce, but I just don't know if that ego can handle another dub like that. I think that he needs to be taken down just a little bit. I think that it might help him out. All right, thank you so much, Del. Always appreciate it.
Yeah, keep up the great work with this cast, man. Doing a great job.
Thank you, appreciate it. Have a good one.
Right, take care, everybody. Merry Christmas.
See you, Del.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got about 10 minutes left. So I think what I want to do right now is I want to draw a winner. The cup is full. The cup is full. Now, Jeffrey Green is definitely the front runner in the clubhouse right now with about 6 or 7 names in this Buffalo Fanatics mug.
Did we get Jeff Root in there?
We did get Jeff Root in there. Yes, we did. So you know what? I'm feeling in the holiday spirit, Dave. The second one might be, the first one is definitely the Eric Sweatlick Foundation from that super chat we got last week. But are we feeling the holiday spirit? Maybe give away 2?
Yeah, I'll get on the action here. I'll give away something
me and you,
as well. So,
you will go 50-50 on one. Yep. And we're actually going to give away 2 because we're feeling in the Christmas spirit here. And we are going to go. The first winner is, look at the man himself, Jeff Green. Jeff Green is going to be our first winner.
He had the most balls in the hopper there. So.
Yeah. So the winner of the NBA draft lottery is the Buffalo Fanatics draft lottery is Jeff Green. So Jeff, contact us. I think you know where to find us by now on Twitter. You can slide into either mine or Dave's or the Bales guys DMs. Shoot us your address and we'll hook you up with a shirt. And the next winner, if I pull Jeff Green, I'm going to pull again. So sorry, Jeff, we're limiting one here because we're in the holiday spirit. And I pulled Jeff Green. So I'm going to pull another one.
Should have just taken all his out. I guess
dude,
probably
they're all folded up on purple. They're all folded up on purple paper. All right, this is not a. I don't have NBA money. I can't afford the ping pong balls. And the winner is. Oh, that's Jeff Green again.
Well, at least we're getting rid of his. So time the lottery goes down.
We are getting to.
It's gonna be Jeff Green again.
You know, it was Joe Miller. I'll buy him something. We're not giving it to
Joe. Joe.
I'll get him something. Something nice for.
Are his dollars not good? Come on.
It's Jeff Green again. Come on.
He's lucky today.
I am going to.
Green's gonna have a good Christmas.
I took him out of the cup.
Lottery ticket today.
I took him out of the cup, and I'm like sprucing him up here, and I'm gonna close my eyes and pick. All right, this name is not Jeff Green. And it is who's that guy who ages backwards?
Brian Bowers.
What?
Benjamin Button.
What? Benjamin Button. Well, Benjamin Button has got nothing on our man, Brian Bowers.
Brian Bowers.
So, Brian, congrats.
I love that for Brian.
Shoot us a DM on Twitter or send us an email at thebillsguys@gmail.com. Hit us up with your address, your mailing address, and all that good information. So Jeff, Brian, and Joe, congratulations. We'll give Joe something. Maybe send him a lump of coal. But thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. Before we head out, Bree, talk a little bit about your podcast and where the people can find it and what you'd like to talk about.
So my podcast is called Chick from the 716. Most weeks I just talk about Bills recaps, like how I think they're going to do, and then Bachelorette recaps and my opinions. But Bachelorette actually ended yesterday, so if people don't like the Bachelorette, there's a little bit of a break.
Spoiler alert, I read somewhere on Twitter that she didn't pick anyone. Is that true?
No, she did.
She picked? Who did she pick?
His name is Zach C. He's actually from... Sorry. I didn't even think about a spoiler. Okay. Not that
I don't think anyone in here watched it.
Yeah, I figured.
Well, now
so
I don't
Zach C. His name is Zach C. Was that who you wanted?
So I liked him when he was in the top 4, and then when there was only 2 left, I stopped liking him. So I was kind of iffy, but it seemed genuine and real. So I'm happy for them. I can't not be happy.
Mhm.
So
because I think Travis Kelce had a dating show on VH1, and I know that JJ Watt, for the longest time before he got married, talked about how hard it was for him as a National Football League player to find love. So I feel like almost like the NFL would make some money in the offseason doing an NFL
yeah.
version.
I don't know if you guys
Bachelorette.
heard this, but a lot of former like college football players go on the show who like didn't
Aaron
go
Rodgers' brother, right?
I think so. I think there was 3 this
Jordan
season.
Rodgers, Jesse Palmer. I know Jesse Palmer did it.
There's a lot.
Maybe I shouldn't
Jesse
admit to
Palmer
knowing
was
as much
the
about.
Bachelor, right?
Yeah,
He wasn't the contestant. He was the actual.
he was.
Bachelor.
I think Jordan Rodgers was the Bachelor too.
I actually only got into the show 2 years ago because my neighbor's freshman year, there were guys in the dorms and they were like, "Do you guys want to watch The Bachelor with us?" And we were like, "Sure." So that's how I got into it. So that was only 2 or 3 seasons ago.
Yeah. Caitlin was asking, are you guys also on YouTube? Bree and Adam's podcast, the NFL Basement and Chick from the 716, are audio only. However, Adam is a regular contributor on the BF Writers Room, which is part of our pregame show. So you can catch him about 3 hours before kickoff every week with some of the BF writers. And Bree, you join us on occasion as well in the pregame show too. So everyone here at Buffalo Fanatics, we got our own little, I know you run a Barstool network, right?
I do.
So
it's like a college Barstool.
Yeah. We've got our own little Barstool network here where we got everyone just appearing on everyone's show. So thank you, Bree, for that. And Adam, tell the people what you do here at Buffalo Fanatics and where they can find you and all that good stuff.
Well, I'm not just a regular contributor on the Writers' Room. I am the host.
You are the host.
Thank you very much.
Give him some credit.
No, I am the chief editor at thebuffalofanatics.com. So I work with all the writers and help them with run-on sentences and fragments and all sorts of other things. But no, our writers are amazing. And I also get a chance to do a podcast with my buddy Nate. He is our resident Lions fan on the Buffalo Fanatics. He writes our Buffalo Bills Outsider piece, and it gives us some perspective. He's also one of our college football analysts. And every week on the NFL Basement, we talk a little NFL history, NFL news, and we make game picks. And the idea is to get a perspective on the NFL from a Bills fan and a Lions fan, two teams that were historically in the NFL basement, if you will. So that's where the name comes from. But and that comes out today as well. That is live. So, but in the off season, we love to talk NFL history and just try to teach people things. But also during the season, it's a lot of just general NFL talk instead of just focusing on the Bills alone.
Yeah, Adam is that cool sort of that history professor that you get in college where you just go to their class and he just talks the whole time in like a nice cardigan in front of a chalkboard, even though like you're like, where did that chalkboard even come from? He brought the chalkboard into the classroom just to give it that old time feel. So Adam, we always do appreciate the podcast. All right, before we head out, I want to ask you guys, I know it's not Thanksgiving, but in the spirit of the holiday season, what are you guys most thankful for in terms of the Bills Mafia and the Buffalo community? Bree, I'll kick it off with you, then Adam, then Dave, and then I'll close things out before we head out. Bree, what are you most thankful for in the Bills Mafia community?
Overall, I'm going to say how because of COVID this year has been crazy and we definitely have the best fan base of all of the NFL. And the fact that we're doing super well on top of that is just, it makes it's a little bit better, I guess, and brings some sunshine to this crazy year, basically.
Nice. Adam, how about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think, what I'm most thankful for are the little things. I mean, I see a lot of interactions on, Bills Mafia, but people who are trying to lose weight, get healthy, maybe they're giving up on an addiction, maybe they're going through a divorce or so many other things. And the little encouragements Bills Mafia seems to bring, when people talk about Twitter and social media being a sort of cancer, a sort of such a toxic place. I'll tell you, like there's almost no place I'd rather be than in Bills Mafia, Twitter, social media, because as much as, yes, there are the occasional trolls and awful people, I see for every one of them, I see like a Miss A from BK or, you know, a Mandalorian or, you know, so many people who are just so encouraging and positive, and they make 2020 seem not so bad.
There we go. Elliot chiming in. I really like this comment from Elliot. Says, I'm thankful for the Bills Mafia community and shows like this, making us the most educated fan base out there. I will say, I do think the Bills Mafia community is the most educated fan base, but I might be a little biased. I don't know. Dave, what are you most thankful for?
Yeah, I mean, kind of piggybacking off what Adam said, like the community on social media is really strong. I mean, even, you know, we got Greg, we got Bruce on here, like people's willingness to kind of interact with each other, even though we may be all from different sort of backgrounds and networks and what have you. So, you know, it's nice to see that at the end of the day, we're all still just Bills fans and we're all kind of coming together in that way. And I'm thankful for, you know, for all of you guys and Buffalo Fanatics in general. Like, we have a great team. People put in a lot of hard work on this network, and, you know, it starts with, you know, Pierre and Rico and Bobby, and it's down to everybody, right? Like, everybody was grinding so hard this year. The Bills are good. The writers, the podcasters, whatever. And, like, a lot of times it's those little things that, like Adam's saying, they maybe don't go so noticed, but they're really important. And it's kind of one of those things that we don't always necessarily thank each other for. So I want to thank everyone for that. And Steve, I want to thank you, man, for being a great co-host and putting in so much work to make our shows really pop. So thank you as well.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to thank you too. So story time a little bit here. About 5-6 years ago, I moved out to Phoenix, Arizona. You could tell because it's sunny and 70 degrees right outside my window back here. But I moved out west with, and I knew nobody. I didn't know a single person when I moved out here. When I first started living out here, the only friends I had really were work friends. I've managed to build myself a nice, solid life out here. I got a fiance I love, 2 puppies, a lot of good friends, but it was a tough road. And I was at a really low point a couple of years ago. I was ready to move back home with my tail tucked between my legs. And then I got a message on Twitter saying, hey, do you want to do a podcast with this other guy that we found on the internet? And you came into my life, Dave. So I want to thank you for helping me through. Like, I don't think I would have gotten through these 2 years. I think I'd be sitting in Buffalo somewhere selling car insurance or something instead of doing what I love and what I'm passionate about for a paycheck, because you helped me get through it. The Buffalo Fanatics community helped me get through it. You guys, the people in the comment section, the people on Twitter, you guys really have been just a great sounding board, great people to help me feel connected to home, even though I no longer can live in the place that I will all consider my home. So thank you guys so much. Really do appreciate it. You know, so never underestimate the power that you guys have as a Bills Mafia community, because you guys truly have touched me metaphorically in ways that you will never know. So, ladies and gentlemen, that will just about do it. Bree, Adam, Dave, thank you guys so much. We always send it out with a Go Bills. So, Bree, we'll start with you, and then we're not going to screw it up this time. It's going to go Bree, and it's going to go Adam. No, actually, I'll go first because I don't want to be so. I'll go first, then Dave, then the guest, then Adam, and then Bree. So we'll follow it along the. I'm screwing this up. There we go. We'll go that way with it. So me, Dave, Adam, and then Bree, with a solemn go. Not a solemn, a cheerful. Go Bills. Oh, we got Sergio coming in. Sergio, always appreciate it. Yes, I do teach in Arizona. Hopefully, my students never find the video cast. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, have a happy, wonderful holidays. We will see you for pregame on Monday. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.